Hi, everyone. Hi, Ching, Christian, and Robert.
Good evening.
I'm Judy Utall. I am the founder of Autism and Entertainment, and I'm going to share my screen and get us started on today's uh, session. So this is the second of our family, allies, and community talks, which we're calling FACTS. And the purpose of this is to help people on their journey, and it's more than just helping the talent. We've been very focused on the talent, but I realized that I forgot parents. And I know that I started this group for my son, and I thought, how can I be forgetting those important people in our folks' lives? So that was the impetus behind starting this series. Today, I'm going to review a little bit. I don't know if everybody came to the last session, so I want to review, and it's also giving people time to connect and finish dinner. And I'm going to go over some resources. This is different from last time, the resources, but it takes a lot of resources to accomplish what we're all trying to accomplish. I'm going to focus on some friends of mine, Josh Bass and Diane Lamons. And I also have Katherine visiting us from Exceptional Minds. So we will have Katherine Wells here, and then we're going to maybe do some questions and then talk about what's next. This is a journey in terms of the webinar. We're doing it once a month. So the first month, we had Alex Estrella and his mother, Sherry. And Alex runs Blue Star Productions. He was diagnosed with autism at age 3, and he's had an amazing journey. He got a degree in film at UC Santa Barbara and then got a master's at Vanderbilt in behavioral sciences so that he could be a ABA therapist. And he's moved on in that career as well. So he's had an interesting journey, and you're welcome to go back and watch that video. I had Hannah Olander join us, and she is an educator at the Miracle Project, which is a theater arts program for individuals on the spectrum. And she works a lot with nonverbal folks. And so it was a really great conversation. Today, we're going to talk about mentors and professional network and how do you do that. And to help me, I have Josh and Diane, who have been friends of ours since my son was in 5th grade. And so I think it shows the importance of community and friendship. And then Katherine Wells and I work together on Mentor Circle program, which Katherine's been involved in a lot of different mentoring program and is a director at Exceptional Minds. And the next time we'll focus on that a little bit later. So this is kind of a review, but I want people to be thinking about their life or their career as a journey. It's not like people get to be Steven Spielberg didn't wake up overnight and become the director he is today. Everybody had a journey, has a path, and it's different for everybody. And there's no one right path, there's no one wrong path. Everybody's in a different stage of their lives, and careers are built over time. So a lot of people think, okay, I just finished this program. Now I can be an actor, and it just takes so long. The reason we exist is to help get the world ready for you. So to help change the ecosystem, we found that the ecosystem isn't the Hollywood or the entertainment industry has been focused on diversity, but not neurodiversity. And we really want to change that and change the community. We try to provide supports for folks on their journey and talk a little bit more about that. So one thing I'd like to emphasize is that we're all in this together, that when you only focus on yourself, then you really don't help solve the problem. That I'm trying to build a community and have us all help each other out, because if you only focus on your own self or your own child, then maybe you'll solve that problem, but you're not solving the overall problem of what's wrong with the world and what's wrong with the ecosystem. In preparing for this series, I came up with this slide and I call it the dream slide, which shows kind of how a you evolve as you go through preparing for a career. And I was at Disney World, so of course it's all about dreams there, and the fireworks were all about dreams. And I just thought that our community was brought up watching Disney, and so they kind of been conditioned to think my dreams will come true. And so I felt that that was a good acronym. So what this shows is that it starts off with a dream of what you want to achieve. I highlighted the word happiness because I have a son, my son Josh, who is 34, and I spent a lot of my energy focusing on. He was diagnosed at just before he turned 4, and we spent a lot of times focusing on academics and having him succeed in school. And I don't know if I focused enough on happiness. And I think as parents and as people, happiness is really important. And today you might have gotten an email from us with 4 different guides. One was for parents, one was for talent. And the one for talent and parents really do highlight the importance of happiness and thinking about what brings you joy. Because entertainment may be a career, but it just may be something that makes you happy, something that lets you be creative, something that gives you a community. So I want, not everybody is going to have a successful career. This industry is really tough. Unemployment is like at 35% right now in California for entertainment. So it's a really tough time. So it's important to know that you're doing this not just for work, but for your happiness. What is it? It is about getting ready. This is the kind of things that Katherine is focused on a lot, which is, people getting their portfolios, their skill sets, developing their knowledge and their capabilities so that when the opportunity arises, they're prepared and have the skill set they need to embark on their career. Then I have E for engage, which is about building your network, engaging. That's a lot of the theme for today in terms of mentors and friends, and all that is about engaging in the community. And then achieving, and there are internships, things you can do to build a portfolio, create your own content, whatever, but achieving. And then the last one, M, is for mentor. And just as much as I want all of us to give, I want all our talent to give too. And it may be that somebody who's spent 5 years studying voice acting is now in a position to help somebody who's just starting on their career. And I think mentoring is a really important step in your journey. This is it's a pie chart, but I thought it was important to share this with you, and I will send out the slides when we send out the recording. And what this is, Diane and I have been on this journey together for for a couple of decades. And I think one thing that we'll talk about is some of the resources. And these resources have helped us pay for things, has helped people create programs. And so you may not know about all of this. And so I wanted to share. So first of all, not everybody with autism is a regional center client. First of all, regional center is a California program. But if you have applied and become a regional center client, that's a lifelong benefit. And as you mature, so as you graduate from high school, all of a sudden, a lot of their services kick in and can really help you on your journey. For example, the Taylor Day program. My son did a program called AFA Hub where he learned film, and that was paid for as a regional center vendor as a Taylor Day program. So there's all sorts of things there. There's self-determination, and Diane and I are going to talk some about that. There are paid internships. There's a bunch of people that are working through paid internships and are able to get jobs working on content. There's a whole production going on called Marty's Place, and pretty much the staff has been paid through the paid internship program. The Regional Center paid internship program will pay up to 1,040 hours a year for, paying the salary, and the employer doesn't even need to be their employer. The employer is a third party, but so someone having you work doesn't have to pay for your insurance and stuff. So these are really great programs. And to qualify for the regional center, having autism is one thing, but you have to have the condition before the age of 18. It gets harder when you're older than 18. You need to have, an IEP, or you need to have other proof that you had the disability earlier. And you have to go through a diagnosis, and there's a whole bunch that you might want to learn. And I'm going to share with you a conference that's coming up in September that might help you with that. The second organization is Department of Rehab, and this is employment services for individuals with disabilities. And there, it's not a lifelong situation. You open a case. And so once you open a case, then you can get services, but there's a lot of services that you might want to take advantage. For example, they'll help you pay your tuition. So, and books if you're in a program at school. So that's like an example. They have on-the-job training. We've had folks that have had funding through Department of Rehab to help them pay their salary through different programs. And Josh Bass, I know, has done both a paid internship program and a DOR program. So I'm anxious to talk to him a little bit about it. Another group is workforce development, and workforce development is career and workforce services for anyone. So it's not about people with disabilities. And it's just an important organization to be mindful of, because they do things like helping with resume and career counseling. And a lot of times they have special programs. There's some apprenticeships. And that's how I found some people who were doing apprenticeships in the entertainment space. Like one is called EVEN, and they're focused on live entertainment, and they're part of they get their funding through workforce development, and they have apprenticeships in live entertainment. So these are three organizations that how do I fund this, and it's not just how you fund it, but it may be the educational partner and how they fund it. So I just wanted to share this with you. Okay, so we're gonna, I thought I had, I'll find it at the end. I have, we'll go to the website and I'll show you some information on some resources out there for finding out more about services from Regional Center. But I wanted to talk about Josh and Diane. So I'm going to just stop sharing, and so that I'm going to start off with Diane. So I'm going to spotlight Diane for everyone, and I better spotlight me too. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Judy.
I want us all to wish Diane a happy birthday. It's hard to believe, but she's celebrating her birthday by hanging out with all of us.
Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Just a little context. So Diane and I have known each other since our sons were in 5th grade. She, for a while, moved I can see the house right out my window, down the street from us. And one day, my son Josh went to school, and he met the other Josh, and they immediately connected and have become friends for life. And they're now actually roommates. And Diane and I have been on this journey together for quite a while. So, hi, Diane. Diane, you want to just kind of tell people about yourself and your family, and just kind of let them know who Diane is.
Yes, for sure. So That's so it's just so interesting, how you talk about this, Judy, and how I feel like exactly the same way because we've traveled it together. You're highlighting happiness in your slides. Um, yeah, in the beginning, we weren't thinking so much about happiness. We were thinking about how are we going to get our kids through this, My son wasn't diagnosed until he was 8 years old. And I mean, honestly, I knew nothing about autism or spectrums I knew nothing. At that point, it was ADHD to us, and that's what we thought it was until someone told us it was different, and it was shocking to me. And so when it like all these things happened at the same time where we had moved here and then Josh is in school in Irvine and he's in a class and he meets another Josh and then I meet that other Josh and I'm like, hey, he's a lot like my Josh. And then I'm like, Josh, where do you live? And he's like, right there. So they're 5 houses away from us. And it was just so crazy how our worlds collided. So after we got Josh's diagnosis, um, I just dug in. I just started reading everything that I could possibly read on autism, Asperger's at the time because his original diagnosis was Asperger's. And then I got involved pretty heavily with the Orange County Asperger's support group. It was a very small group at that time. We met at the Pancake House in Irvine. But I'll tell you, it was people with a commonality, and connections make difficult moments easier. And I was connecting with people for the very first time. I have two other children and they're neurotypical. I connected with a lot of people as it related to my other two children, but I didn't with Josh. And so I knew that I had to, and it's not really my personality to just like go in and insert myself and talk to people, but I was going to do it because I knew I had to have other people to do this. What do they say? A burden shared is a burden lightened, and I needed my burden lightened. Um, Come to find out years later, burden is the wrong word for what we've gone through. So yeah, Judy and I just kind of trekked along. We attended everything that we could attend anytime something came up and it was autism related. I would go to it and I would see if maybe this was the thing for us, for Josh. A lot of times it wasn't the thing, but then there were times where it was. The Orange County Asperger Support Group, that was our diving board. That's what launched us, our springboard, I should say. And so, from there, then we moved through as the kids got older, the opportunities changed, and we continued to just scoop up every opportunity and see if that's what was going to work for our child to advance them. By the time they got to the age that they were graduating from high school, that's when it got scary because then it's like, now what? Now what are we going to do? And both of our boys decided they wanted to go to college, and um, that was shocking, but they did it. And it took them a minute to do it. And Judy and I don't know about Judy, but I went back to college. Basically, I got my second bachelor's degree with Josh because it was,
We had two different strategies.
yeah,
Diane was uh, pivotal in helping her Josh. I surrounded my Josh with a cocoon of tutors.
yeah.
So there was a violent overthrow of me helping him with one math homework assignment, and it was clear that I couldn't anymore.
That is, yeah, yeah. It was challenging. It was challenging. So it took Josh in all, it took him 10 years, but he got that degree in illustration and animation. The whole time he was doing that, he was working part-time at CVS, hating every single minute of it. and just couldn't wait until he could do what he wanted to do, which was work in animation, gaming or animation, anything where he could use his creativity. And then that's when autism and entertainment kind of came in. First, we met Jimmy Lifton with in Visual Arts Academy, and we've worked extensively with him. But then autism and entertainment came in, and that's when we really started meeting people. Judy is, just a catalyst in that whole organization. I wish I was retired and I could dive in like she does, but it everything changed, honestly. And I don't even think I've told you this, Judy, but everything changed when we joined AIE, because that's when Josh and I became a team. For all those years, I had to fight my son, like a lot of parents have to fight their neurodiverse kids to do things. I was kind of his enemy of sorts because I was making him do things because he was a child, right? But when we joined AIE, that's when it kind of when Josh realized that I was on his team and that all I was doing was trying to make things better for him. And it's when I realized that I didn't have a child anymore. I had a young adult, and that he could make a lot of decisions on his own, and that I had to let him make them, even if I didn't necessarily agree with them. And that just completely brought us together.
I'm gonna add Josh to our group here because I think that's a perfect time. And
Hello.
hi, Josh. How are you tonight?
Can't complain too much. Basically, hearing the lovely story of my life.
Um,
Hmm.
well, I wanted to ask you, Josh, about just your journey with in the entertainment space and kind of how you got into the game design. And then we'll just kind of go through some of the different
Of
programs
course,
that you've been in. So
of
why don't
course.
we just start off with Cal State Fullerton and tell us about the program there that you were in.
Well, basically, Cal State Fullerton was indeed basically the second college I went to. First, it was Saddleback. Like sort of kind of went with that route and such, starting with my associate's degree, then managed to transfer over to Cal State Fullerton, which was pretty awesome. Um, the main journey, of course, was basically transportation because I lived in San Clemente at the time, and that's all the way up in Fullerton. And so,
Would you take the train?
yes, and we had to.
Every day.
I had to take it at like probably somewhere between 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Had to hop on that train and ride it all the way up to Fullerton.
And he did it every day.
So what was your
I'm
coursework like at Cal State Fullerton in game design?
game design, animation, many all kinds of things. There were many courses I took. Of course, you had to take your elective courses, which was indeed a bit of a pain because all those space. Sometimes you have to take classes you don't like calculus or statistics.
Eh.
Statistics. That was not fun. I did not like that statistics class.
Me neither.
Yeah, no one
So
likes it.
So, Josh, when you graduated from Cal State
Hmm.
Fullerton, you were working. Let me ask you guys about working.
Yeah,
What gives Josh, Josh, what gives you the work ethic to want to earn money, want to work? What drives you?
plenty of patience for one thing. That's what happens when you work retail for over a decade, especially when you're dealing with people who, whether they're mentally disabled or not, basically don't have the best attitudes. And they literally have to find a way to complain about something, even if it's a 50-cent coupon that expired 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Why are you giving me this? This is literally not important. It expired 3 years ago. Go. Why are you whining?
How about after CVS, Josh?
After
Yeah,
that,
but
I
you go
moved
ahead.
in. We transferred into Target, which wasn't exactly a top tier improvement, but basically a little bit better than better because they weren't coupon people. But there was indeed, of course, the hard hours, but like I said, this job teaches you patience. And if you don't learn patience from this, you are literally doomed in this industry.
And it was pretty much around that time, Judy, that you and I both were introduced to Jimmy Lifton, and
Hmm.
we
Yeah.
we went to that first meeting where he talked about what he does and what he wanted to do for this community, and I think you and I were both pretty excited about that.
So at the time, I think you guys, it was around 2019, I think it was.
Yeah. I
Or
think.
was
Maybe a
it
little earlier.
2018? Might
Yeah.
have been a little bit earlier. And so Jimmy had started a program called Real People. He was inspired by Exceptional Minds, and it was
Hmm.
teaching, After Effects, and so both both of our Joshes participated in that.
Hmm.
Diane, tell me about the funding of it, because I think this is where I want to start weaving in a little bit about all the different government programs that
Yeah.
the different doors that opened. So I
Mhm.
believe that this was for regional center clients. Was that right, Diane?
I would have said Department of Rehab,
Was
but
this one to Department of Rehab?
you
It was
could
it,
be right. But
I
I thought it was DOR.
I can't remember exactly which one it was. I know it was one of the two. I just know basically it was funded by one of the two
Yeah,
programs.
I think there was the paid internship as well,
Yeah.
because I think this was the time where you actually applied and got Josh into regional center.
It
I think
was. So
was
it must have been even a little earlier than 2019 because it must have been. Yeah, that was when we got him in. And at the time back then, the services they were there, but they weren't what they are now. The opportunities were not what they are now. And maybe they were, and we just hadn't done enough research and learned about it. But it was when Josh then got into the self-determination program through the regional center. That's when we really started,
Noticing a lot of resources.
yeah, noticing them and taking advantage of those programs. And a lot of them were training programs again through Jimmy Lifton and Josh, because when the boys graduated from college, and
Mhm.
didn't go straight into work, it's like they'll lose those skills, those
Mm,
animation, those illustration skills, you're going to lose them. And
yeah.
so these training programs that Josh has really never stopped going through, they have allowed him to keep his skills and even hone his skills even more because the entertainment industry in that side of it changes constantly. The
Really
programs that they
does.
use to make 2D animation, 3D animation, what they were using, 7, 8, 9 years ago, they're not using them anymore. It's all different. So you have to
Mm,
constantly be moving forward and training in order to stay relevant. And that's what the regional center was helping us
mm.
fund all of these training programs for Josh to continue doing that.
so
All right.
so yeah, I think and Josh, I saw there was a question from Angel in there. So if you want to just
Yeah.
put that in the chat, I think.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
yeah, I
So
think you would,
so
or you want to just think.
some of the programs basically there were indeed lots of different programs. So much I can't fully remember all of them. I do remember DOR had this good payment program where basically
Oh,
if you
I
had
actually think Angel might mean the software.
the software okay, that's a different thing. Yeah. So like sometimes some back then I would use things like Maya 3D modeling but nowadays we use Blender, their their photo Adobe Photoshop, After Effects. Basically so many there's even one nowadays I heard that's called Krita.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
think
don't
a few things
she
that
means training programs
oh,
actually.
training programs.
Oh,
Okay, I
so
was wrong.
yeah,
I guess wrong. Sorry, Angel.
yeah. So the
Um,
training programs are primarily through the Visual Arts Academy. I mean, the ones that Josh did through Jimmy Lifton are Visual Arts Academy, or
Hmm.
the one he's in now is Awesome Ants.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a moment. There's two things that you brought up that I think are worth kind of diving into a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the first, I'm just going to explain self-determination to folks. So when you're a regional center client, based on the services you need in your plan, you get a budget. There's a budget
Yeah.
that's made available to you. And normally that budget is paid to services that are offered through vendors. And so it's very limiting what is necessarily available. What
Mm-hmm.
self-determination does, and this was enacted by the state several years ago, had been going on as pilot for almost 10 years. But it basically says that you can be in control of your budget and not necessarily use vendor resources. So basically, you come up with a plan about what are all the different things you want to do, and that money is then given to a financial organization that will pay the bills. And there's a lot of oversight from regional center. They need to approve the plan, they need to approve the vendors, etc. But when that happens, now all of a sudden you have funding to help pay for maybe a mentor that you want, or maybe other kinds of services. And we've all, both Diane and I, have used that very heavily to support us. So that's like one thing that I thought I could explain a little bit more. But actually, Diane did it first. So Diane, you did it. You were like one of the first people to do it right
I
after
think we
that
did
law
it
was
the
signed.
first, I think the first year it was offered, we did it. We're on
And
year 6 now. So,
And what kinds of things did you use the funds to pay for?
so like I said, a lot of the training programs that Josh has been in, they have covered the expenses for that. He has a personal trainer that's paid for, which has been fabulous for him. Health wasn't foremost in his mind for a lot of years, and it is now. Like now he talks about it all the time. So he's still working with the same trainer he's been working with for years. He has someone come in and tidy
Mm-hmm.
up his apartment every other week, or his condo,
Yep.
which
Indeed.
is really great.
And
Yep.
of course,
He's got an
I
independent,
basically try to keep it clean as best as I can. Of course.
and you do a great job. You sure
You
do.
agreed.
He's got an independent living support, so someone who just makes sure that in his independent life, he's doing everything as still not even as it should be done, but that he is, um, you know,
Stretching himself.
yeah, keeping up on everything, dentist appointments and doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff.
So Diane and Josh, I'm very mindful of two key relationships that developed over time and how those um, I know quite a few actually with you guys, but that I thought were very pivotal in helping you. And those would be with Zavicon and with Rebecca, and then the other is with Jimmy. So do you guys want to just kind of talk about each of those and how those relationships help you navigate this journey that you're
Sure,
on?
sure. And they've
Sure.
worked together. So
Yeah.
Zavicon
Yeah, go ahead.
Zavicon is Josh's career developer. Um,
Indeed.
and he works with them every week. He has conversation with them and they work with him on advancing him in entertainment. And Josh, I'm going to let you tell a little bit more about what you
Of
do
course.
with them.
Of course. Like say she said. Every week I communicate with Zavicon with the founding CEO Rebecca Beam. She's basically the, like I said, the founder. Basically, very sweet woman. Known her for well over a couple years now. My mother and her are now also good friends. Basically, what we do is we sort of find ways to basically make sure I can indeed get a job in the entertainment industry. Try to make proper connections. Apply on various websites via Indeed, the actual web page, and as well prepping for doing interview preparations like proper training and such. You could be one of those that could be a bit of a stutterer when you're basically in an interview room into someone, you have no idea what the heck is going on. You're sweating like bullets.
Josh, let me interject for a second because I see Catherine smiling in the background. So, one of the programs that Autism and Entertainment was involved in making
Hmm.
happen, what as well as Disney, because
Hmm.
one of our work group members, Suzette Shing, helped make it happen, was arranging for some training in coloring
Oh
so
yeah,
that
that
they could go, so that someone could get an internship with Disney animation.
mhm. That
And
was.
and I know Zavicon helped. So you did get
Mhm.
that internship. So you want to talk a little bit about
Oh
working with
yeah,
Zavicon in the class and all that.
yeah. So yeah, Zavicon indeed, as such, basically, like I said, that Zavicon indeed helped lot in that program, basically helping me to get a job in the with Disney. Basically, got a good 6 months month internship with them. Basically, got to meet a lot of fun people, hang out at the office. It's in Glendale. You know, well, basically, it was a lot of fun. It was really a lot of fun over there. They definitely have some pretty good programs, nice people. Well,
I'll say that. Oh, go ahead.
the one thing I'll say is basically like most things, transportation was indeed my my kryptonite, I guess, because as such, due to my due to my mental disorder, basically, I cannot drive on freeways. I am not comfortable with that.
So, talk to us now about Jimmy,
Mhm.
and he has really been a
Um,
mentor to you. Talk about the different programs that you've done with him and
oh,
the one you're in now.
lots of programs. Like back in the day, I think it was um, Visual Arts Academy, a Boogaloo. Was a kind of a website he sort of came up with. He was sort of a starting point he was trying to do for to like do these classes and such. And unfortunately, funding didn't work out for that, so it didn't pan off. Unfortunately, he, but he never gave up. He kept going. Basically, came up with many others. The Awesome Ants thing is indeed the current objective we're going with right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely looking like a good possibility. And he's even helped with other things. Like right now, he's actually I never thought to do this, but like he's training me to be a showrunner. That's a someone who comes up with television shows in the industry. I mean, basically
And
to
runs
come up
it.
and like what?
And runs it.
Yes,
Showrunner.
and runs it. You are indeed the one running the show. That's
Right,
basically
right.
that's the whole point of the title.
So probably a lot of people don't know that Jimmy Lifton he's an award-winning
Producer.
producer and musician, and he has a real heart for people on the spectrum, and
Yes, he
so
is not.
he just keeps, you know, if he keeps coming up with program after program, and if he's batted
Mm,
down, he comes up with something else, and
definitely.
now he's very much entrenched in it, and with his Awesome Ants and the Rain Man project.
Hmm.
And Josh is working. He now is working with Jimmy every day. He has a job with them where he's
Yeah.
working on an actual Hollywood production
Mm.
that will is expected to be green lighted and will move forward. So that's very exciting. I
Indeed.
just want to say though, with the Disney internship, and for all of you who want to be in the
Hmm.
entertainment world, getting an internship, and it doesn't have to be with Disney, but getting an internship doing something that you love, something that you want to do potentially for the rest of your life will change your life. That
Hmm.
internship that Josh did with Disney changed his life.
Definitely.
It changed his perspective. It increased his confidence like you can't imagine. Um,
I've never been more happier in my life.
there's the happy word. There's the happiness word right there.
Hmm.
It finally came around to where it all happened together. The work and the
Hmm.
happiness were actually happening at the same time, because they didn't for Josh for a long time. He was happy outside of work, but he wasn't happy in work. And now he's happy in work because he's doing what he
Yeah.
loves. And it's because he got that first internship that gave him the confidence to know that he really actually could do this work for the rest of his life. In some
Indeed.
capacity, he could do this for the rest of his life, and he doesn't ever have to go back to doing the stuff he doesn't like.
No, I would sooner basically become do bungee jumping than basically than go back into retail. I will never go back into retail.
So we're going to kind of close down a little. I'm ready to ask you just a couple more questions.
Of course.
Josh, you did the Mentor Circle program with Catherine and me.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, why you did it, and who your mentor was, and what you got out of that.
Oh, I got a lot of basically I got a lot of stories. Basically, and got a lot of fun experiences, some good advice on basically how to basically be helpful. Well, as for the her name, that's always been my
Was that
main
Angela
kryptonite.
Lapido that you worked with? Was it
I think
DreamWorks?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
so
names have always been my issue. I have to know you for a
okay.
good long while before I can actually get that.
That's all right. So my last question to you folks is well, I got two more. One is, what advice would you give someone like yourself, Josh, who was interested
Mhm.
in a career in entertainment?
I'm sorry, you broke up there for a
Well,
second.
what advice would you give someone who was interested like in a career like yours?
Well, basically, I would say like I said, patience is a virtue. You're probably not going to get the job right off the bat. Trust me on that. I probably have a mountain of reject letters. Reject letters. There's there's no. I have a Mount Everest mountain of reject letters. There's probably just a small hill of acceptance, and that's basically a very small hill. So you probably aren't going to get the job right off the bat. And and but guess what? That doesn't mean you're not going to get it. It will happen. It will definitely happen, and it will be. And the moment you indeed step through that door, you will never be the same again. It will be the best, probably be the best day of your life.
Mm. Thank you, Josh. Diane, I want to say thank you for all you do for autism and entertainment. Could you explain to people the kinds of things you've done and why you've helped out as much as you have?
Well, people have helped me. For the last
Oh,
34 years, people have helped me. Yes, Josh.
I just noticed a question from Kelly Brown towards you in the chat. And
I
so,
think when we move to the next section, Josh, I'll answer the questions. Any of them that were for me, I'll
Okay.
answer those questions.
okay, sorry.
No,
That's
that's
okay.
okay. Thanks for pointing it out.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we have been helped all along the way. And I will tell you that my most gratifying phone calls are when somebody refers me to someone, when a friend or someone, even through my work, knows that I have a child on the spectrum and they call me and they say, hey, I have a parent who's really struggling. They have a child who's on the spectrum and they don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do. And probably at least a couple of times a month, I take those phone calls. And I there's nothing I love more than to be able to share my experiences with people because people's experiences were shared with me. And I will do it for the rest of my life. They're always younger kids, so I'd love to just pull them into autism entertainment and and go with it. But it seems like they're always younger kids, but that's okay because that's our next generation of this population. So yeah, it's been great, and I can't wait until I can do more with the organization.
Thank you. Well,
Hmm.
thanks, Josh and Diane. This
Hmm.
has been great.
Hmm.
Any last statements, or I'm going to bring up Catherine in a sec. So,
Just that we're grateful for you, Judy.
oh,
Indeed,
thank you.
and if you wanted to answer any questions, basically feel free.
Yeah, we'll do that towards the end, but I'm going to bring on
Okay,
Catherine and we're going to chat a little bit more about her journey, etc. So,
of
thank you
course.
so much, Diane
You
and
bet.
Josh. We'll see you later.
Okay,
Mhm.
take care.
Take care.
There you go. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for you being
Hello.
patient. So, Catherine and I got to know each other pretty well this last year as we worked on the Mentor Circle program. But I was wanting you to share your career and what you're currently doing at Exceptional Minds.
All right. Um, I, like everyone else in this industry, had a pretty unique, I think, entry into Hollywood. When I first moved to LA, I got my start working uh, behind the scenes on live televised events like the Academy Awards, Stand Up to Cancer. It was really a production boot camp for me, right? A quick introduction to Hollywood. My education is in accounting, so it had nothing to do with entertainment. So, like a lot of other people, I kind of just found my way over here. After I worked in live televised events, I worked at an entertainment marketing agency and then later at a company called Toshiba, doing talent development roles, developing mentorship programs, leadership programs at Toshiba. And so, kind of really just cutting my teeth and learning about how talent development programs work in a large corporation, which led me to my most recent job. Before I came to EM was at Nickelodeon. I was leading talent development strategy for emerging artists and writers, um, getting them ready. So it was like very much like a bridge program for artists and writers that came from underserved communities. So giving them an opportunity to work on productions with a mentor, where I really learned in that job that on the job training is really like one of the most important ways to get into the business and to really understand, because school and training and all that is really great for preparing you, but um, nothing really can beat the on the job experience. So, really kind of built up my appreciation for apprenticeship programs, which led me to Exceptional Minds. After I left Nickelodeon, I saw that Exceptional Minds was looking for um, career development manager. And I had actually was already familiar with Exceptional Minds because they had had interns at Nickelodeon for several of the years that I was there. And so I kind of knew about them. I knew some of the interns. And so when I saw this opportunity to come and work with them, it was very exciting for me because I'm still getting to do something similar to what I was doing before. And I'm super passionate about helping people, um, mentoring, coaching, and guiding emerging talent into whatever their dream job is, right? A little bit different for everybody. And so now at Exceptional Minds, I am the director of career services and or career and student services. So I am overseeing the career services department, our wellness and behavioral team, and we're building up an alumni relations team, so that we can better service our graduates.
Okay. Well, thanks, Catherine. That's such a great story in terms of your career. It just shows you that it's not a straight line. You know, if
It's never linear. Yeah. I hopped around a
no,
lot of
it's
different
not.
places before I kind of found what I really loved. So,
So, talk to us about the Mentor Circle program that you and I worked on. First of all, why did you reach out to me in Autism and Entertainment, and what what was the gist of the program?
yeah, I recognize that mentorship is really an important part of career growth in any industry, but especially entertainment. And it is by far one of the most challenging aspects of building a career. Um, so I feel like the mentorship program was something that I wanted to kind of put together or build to help demystify the mentor-mentee relationship. And how I got connected to autism entertainment was like I came to one of your member sessions and I just saw that we had a lot of similarities in like what we were trying to do for the community and our kind of vision for how we could support people was very similar. um, and so it gave me the idea that if we could partner together, we would not only be helping each other as organizations, but also creating an opportunity for your members and our students or alumni to sort of cross-pollinate, I guess, right? Do some peer-to-peer networking so that they're also, during this program, because we did it a mentorship circle style, which is like one mentor to four mentees, was so that everyone would have an opportunity to learn how to manage a mentor-mentee relationship, but also connect with their peers. So we're kind of moving in all directions, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was really great working with you on it. It was ended up being 4 different sessions. We were shooting for 20. I think we got 18 or so students
Hmm.
that were involved. And it was a 90-minute session where Catherine taught a kind of an educational moment with for 30 minutes, and then they went into the
Yeah, like
circle.
best practices for
Yeah.
a mentor
And
mentee
and I
relationship. Yeah.
and I felt that that was really a good balance because it was part of what you said, the demystification, and also, learning the soft skills, learning about boundaries, learning about,
Hmm.
how to manage relationships, how to communicate, how you communicate, or, I thought it was pretty instructive. Um,
Yeah, I think that was important to me is to also create a learning opportunity out of it because I'm just like looking on my back on my own experience. I didn't really know how to approach a mentor or to talk to a mentor or how to conduct a meeting with a mentor until I was able to go through a similar program when I was at Paramount. They had a lot of mentorship program opportunities, different kinds like pop-up mentors and cross-departmental mentors and just like all these different things where I really was able to learn that there is a bit of a cadence to it and there is a format to it that can help you be successful. And I'm learning a lot um, about learning for the autism, for those on the autism spectrum, that a lot of times modeling is a really helpful way for everyone to see kind of like, oh, this is how it works. So now I can repeat that in the different situations. So that was like a big part of what I was
I
hoping
don't
to
think
get
this
out
is
of it.
on the
Yeah.
list of questions, but what do you think one of the misconceptions that professionals might have about working with people on the spectrum?
Um, I think from what I've encountered, and honestly, I can even say for myself, because before I started working at Exceptional Minds, I wasn't working specifically with the neurodivergent community. Um, and I just think a lot of people are just unsure because they don't know if do I need to have some kind of special training or understanding of working with people with autism, right? And so they're a little bit afraid of the unknown. And so that's something that we've been working on at EM is kind of creating, I don't know, is this calling it employer education right now? Because I don't have a better, snappier name for it, but kind of exposing to them like, hey, it's just a matter of approaching it with openness and curiosity, and a willingness to sort of adapt your communication style, because a lot of times that's really all it is exchanging information in a way that both parties can understand, right? Um, so I think that that is a big part of it. And I think when we were looking for mentors too, some people were like hesitant because they're like, oh, I don't have any training. I don't know how, to mentor someone on the autism spectrum. And we were really lucky to have so many volunteers come in and to mentor that were just exactly those things. They were very curious, they were open, they were flexible, and they were just as
Yeah,
excited about learning as our
definitely.
mentees were about meeting with them. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, I think it's a good time to bring Josh and Diane back and open it up to questions. So I'm gonna,
I believe my mother accidentally left the meeting thinking we were done.
oh, okay, Josh. Well, I'll add
I
you and
yeah, so
and if you
yeah,
want to text her and see if she
I,
wants to
I
be back.
she did give me an answer to the question that Kelly
Okay.
that Kelly Brown asked about
Okay.
regional center apparently not support approving Zavicon for her son. Mm, mm. Um,
Okay.
to answer your question on that one, she simply said, "I suggest that you get a better independent facilitator. The good ones really fight for you."
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
deny that there are DOR is got some yays and nays when it comes to facilitators and employee service people. They you kind of it's kind of like rolling the dice. You sometimes can get lucky seven, or you get snake eyes nothing.
well, we can talk a little bit more about that because both Diane and I have gotten regional center supported. So Kelly, do you want to tell me a little bit more about the situation?
Sure, and I tried to message Diane um privately because I didn't want to take over
Okay.
this conversation, but the co-hosting um settings weren't allowing me to I mean I
Oh, okay.
to private setting with them. I just didn't know if there was some terminology that we're not using. They just said that we needed to exhaust generic resources first, even though my son had been a client of DOR to no avail prior. He moved from
Mm.
Central Valley DOR to Northern LA County, and so part of the SDP budget is Zavicon was one of our key, as well
Right.
as you. We just got
Right.
live August 1st, so Autism
Uh,
Entertainment, we now have a membership
good.
or in the process of getting a membership. However, I really fought it. Like I went to her supervisor and they just said I needed a denial letter from DOR, which DOR wasn't willing to do because they feel like they can service him. But I know
Oh,
other,
I see. I see. You know what it probably was? Okay. So first of all, I want to be clear that it was self-determination money. So you were working with a regional center. Maybe it was in Orange or I don't know where you're located, Kelly. And so the issue comes with how you write your plan and what you're
Mhm.
describing that they're doing. And it was probably that you need to be thinking being a little bit more specific or something. Having a good independent facilitator is helpful uh, because everything with these services, it's like somebody gets something and somebody else doesn't get something, and it all has to do with how you're presenting it and who's presenting it.
Mm.
So we had Zavicon covered for a period of time for our son, um, but I think it was more of a training kind of role versus helping him find a job. So if he makes it sound too much like and the thing about regional centers is that they are not the primary resource. So if they can have somebody else pay for a service, then they're legally required to do that. So, for example, they won't pay for a therapist unless you have a rejection letter from the therapist, from your insurance company, because they'd expect the insurance company to pay for it. So the same is why they probably made you go through that whole DOR. So I would I would meet with your independent facilitator. So for those that don't know all the details about self-determination, you have to be a regional center client. And then typically what you get is an independent facilitator who's someone trained and certified who helps you helps you walk through the self-determination process in terms of putting together your plan and putting together your getting the spending budget set up and all that, and getting the vendors approved. So that would be my recommendation, Kelly. It's like you need to be specific enough that it's clear that this isn't going to be something that DOR can do.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Are there other questions out there?
Let's see. See if there's any in the list. Looks like Robert Jackson merely asked, does the co-host have emails where I can ask questions at any time?
Oh, well, I'm going to put the email for Autism and Entertainment. And then feel free to send emails, and I'll forward it. If Katherine wants to put her email address, or Josh, that's up to them. I'm not going to require them. But if you send an email to info@autismandentertainment.org, I'll be sure and forward it to them. Okay. Other questions? Just raise your hand. Yes, I can't see your name, but you're wearing a white shirt and you have a bookcase. Yeah, it's you. I don't see your name, unfortunately. Oh, it's, Ching. I see
Ching
it now.
Ma.
Yeah, hi, Ching. What's your question?
How do I get a job as a writer?
That indeed is a good question. As such, I did, however, take a writing course one time, but I don't fully remember the details and such.
So what I would recommend, it's not easy. Okay, let's start there. And there's a whole process for a whole career path for writers in terms of starting off, as someone helping with scripts and so forth. There are writing write is the first thing. There are writing competitions. For example, last year, one of our advisors, Britton Payne, who Katherine knows from when she was at Nickelodeon, started a group called Autism Scene. And he ran a contest called the Auspec, where you wrote an 11-page spec script about an animated character. And that was a way of getting yourself known. So writing, entering competitions is a good way.
Okay.
A lot of it is networking. You got to know people. It's not something that they publish a job. People hire people they know in the writing room, right? So a lot of these shows have writers' rooms, and so it's not easy. You have to network. You have to build relationships.
Exactly.
You have to get yourself out there.
And present my work, right?
I'm sorry, say that again.
And
He said,
present my work.
And present his work.
And present your work. Yeah.
I've written a lot of stories.
That's good. That's a good start.
Yeah,
and are those in contests?
I haven't entered them in contests.
You have, or you have not?
He has not.
So like film festivals, some of them have competitions for just scripts or story
Eh,
competitions. You want to get yourself known.
I just threw in the chat the link to the 2027 Allspec competition, so you can check that out.
But one thing I want to say is this is a journey, right? And we're not really set up to mentor you on this. So here you want to find a mentor. One of the things you should do, I don't know if you're a member of Autism and Entertainment, but if you
Yeah.
are, then we have just yesterday we had a mentoring session with Paul Hemstreet, who used to be an executive VP at Warner Brothers. And those are little discussion groups with people in the industry. So we've also had webinars with other writers. And so those might be something that you should watch and attend when we do have writers. There's also writing classes that you might want to take. So don't give up, Ching, but it's, there's not one answer, and it's nobody just gets a job as a writer. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of networking, takes a lot of trying different things to get to know. There's not, you can't just go on Indeed and apply for a writing job and get it. So
It's true.
it's work. Getting into a master's program for writing, talking to other writers and finding out how they got their start. It's a
Shing,
journey.
are you looking to write TV or features?
Both.
So it's always good to have a wide
What's a log line for my-
perspective.
What's a log line for my script?
It's always, like I said, it's always good to have a variety, because sometimes the industry is not just one way. You have to at least be able to have different.
Ching, none of us are screenplay writers. So
Yeah.
No.
any I would recommend, there's a few webinars that we've had with writers, and we could look at, if you were a member, we could look at seeing who else we might introduce you to. But
I mean,
we're kind of at a limit in terms of answering
Yeah.
specific
I
questions.
will say this, though, really quickly,
Yeah,
Shing,
Catherine.
is that there are a lot of writing programs out there. Like CBS has writer mentorship program. And of course, that's the only one I could think of off the top of my head. But if you go to some of these, like the bigger studios websites and look under their jobs or careers page, they'll usually have some kind of like early career programs, which include internships, but also they a lot of times have writing programs for emerging writers. So definitely check that out too.
Thanks, Catherine. Any other questions out there?
I believe Christian has his hand up.
Yeah, hi, Christian.
Good evening, everyone. My question is for Katherine Wells. You mentioned that you, in the past, was at Paramount or under Nickelodeon. My question is for you, Katherine. Did you meet any kid stars when you were at your experience at Nickelodeon?
I didn't meet any of them, but I was on site when some of them maybe came in to do recordings, because Nickelodeon does have their recording booths there on site. I guess I'm trying to think of what's the guy's name that does SpongeBob's voice? Tom Kenny.
Yeah.
He performed with his band at one of our employee events, so that was kind of fun.
In fact, he was at the Auspix Award and awarded, gave out one of the awards.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did.
That's awesome.
Let's see, there's a question from Angel. Hi, Angel. It's good to see you again. Angel asks, any advice for dealing with challenges, barriers related to speech impairment, autism when communicating with others and understanding others too? but very talented. So, Angel, there was a person at, I don't know how severe your communications impairment are, but there were people that were typers at the Auspex Award, and there was awards given to people. And I've seen uh, uh, some DJs now on the Beatles channel. There's Elizabeth Bonkers, who's doing a stint on the Beatles channel, and she's a non-speaker. So there are definitely opportunities. If it's about learning how to communicate better, I run a Toastmasters group, and the best way to improve your communication is to practice. So it depends, just keep working on it. But also find places that you can contribute where that's not going, where people will learn about your talent and what you have to deliver. Catherine, do you got any other suggestions for
I would
Angel?
just say, I would say that if you could just be upfront with people when you initiate a relationship with them and say, I communicate better in writing. So if we can, start off that way, most people are amenable to those kinds of like, I guess in the workplace we would call them accommodations, but um, I think it's just just to not to make it too simple, but just kind of being open with people and just letting them know that that's your best way of communicating and that's how you would like to proceed until you get into a more comfortable place with the person that you're talking with. So.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Well, let me share a couple resources with you for a second. Let me go to our website. So this is the Autism and Entertainment website. And I mentioned that there were webinars that like Ching might be interested in. And so if we look for writing, oh, that was voice acting. Hold on, writing. Here are two different webinars. One is Writing for Kids. This is about the Auspex Award. And another one is writing TV animation writing for autistic writers. And this one, there were 4 different writers who were there, and they give you advice, etc. So these are webinars that you can watch, and we have over 20 different webinars on all sorts of different topics, dependent if you were interested in, say, animation. We've had 9 different webinars on animation. So those are really great resources.
Thank you.
Another thing that what we're encouraging, and this is something that Exceptional Minds is part of, is that we have 20 educational partners, and these are organizations that focus on training talent in different areas. And so Exceptional Minds is here. Also, Zavicon is here. And Jimmy Lifton's Visual Art Academy is here. So these, if you say go to the Exceptional Minds one, you can go to their website and find out more about their services. We support ourselves through membership, which is only $100 a year, and it sounds like Kelly was going to see if she could get Regional Center to fund that. So we have some services that are just for members. So for example, I mentioned yesterday, we have a webinar called You Better Ask Paul. That webinar we had it was for voice actors, that one, and it had Robin Brooke, who is a voice actress and an educator, and then we had an agent, and they answered questions. Another service that we have is our talent book. So I'm going to log in. So this is a service that if you're a member, you can create your talent book entry. And one of the opportunities, we met someone at the Auspex Award. We met Monica Mitchell, who is a producer of a show called President Curtis, which is a spinoff of Rick and Morty. And they got a grant, and they want to hire some autistic talent to be interns. And so we have our talent directory. And if you're an Autism and Entertainment member, you can sign up. And I believe that Josh Bass has a profile here. And there you go.
Indeed.
And so this, you can have access to this if you're an educational partner. So Katherine has access to it. Josh has access to it. So if you're a member and you wanted to write to Josh, you can just hit connect with Josh William Bass and it'll send him an email. This would be handy if President Curtis team reads it and they want to talk to Josh about an opportunity. And then if Josh has an agent, it will also send a copy of the connection with him. And then this has all of Josh's background, but it also lets you connect to
my personal web
website.
page / portfolio. Which is always a good thing to have, basically a good example of all your wonderful work.
So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Are there any other questions? And I'm going to just kind of go through the final slides about what's coming up.
Quick question, Judith, where can we get information about your Toastmasters group? Is it on the AIE website?
No, it's on the Autism Society Orange County. I'll put that Autism
Thank you.
Society OC.org, which is the parent organization of Autism and Entertainment, and I ran it for 10 years. So that Diane talked about the Orange County Asperger's Support Group. She introduced me to that group, and then I ended up wanting to do this Toastmasters thing in 2012, and then I ended up becoming the president of it, and it recently went through a name change and became an affiliate of the Autism Society of America. And so no straight lines for it. But I've been doing it for I guess 14 years, and it's amazing. It's amazing the growth I've seen in terms of individuals and their sense of self and creating community and feeling comfortable talking. I've had people who their first speech was like 30 seconds and they now give these beautiful PowerPoint presentations with beautiful slides and can talk for a long time. People who had stuttering issues that were able to work through it. People, because we have something called table topics, they've learned how to answer questions more comfortably, and it helped them interview. And that person is now a data scientist he had a PhD from Stanford, I should say, but he's now a data scientist at Microsoft and has made it through all their layoffs. So I'm really happy with Richard. So anyway, if learning to communicate is something important to you, I recommend that. Okay, let me just finish this off. So these were some of the types of questions we got, but I think we answered questions today. So what's next? Think about joining us. We have lots of members only activities. I highlighted a few. Better ask Paul. We do studio tours. We have networking events. We did the mentor circle that was available to Autism and Entertainment members as well as Exceptional Mind alums. Yeah.
The studio tours are really fun. You can basically see a lot of cool stuff from that perspective. Like we've had tours with, like, I think so far DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, Disney. I don't think we've gotten Cartoon Network yet, but I'm guessing that's in the works. Maybe Nickelodeon.
It's very cost effective. It's only $100 a year. And a lot of times people earn it back because we pay our talent when we do things like our logo was designed by an individual on the spectrum. Our newsletter is parts of it are worked on by people on the spectrum.
Mm.
We were at a show called Multicon last weekend and we paid two well, several people on for working our booth. So you can earn your money back if you become a member. This was You Better Ask Paul, talent book. And I think that's it for today. So I want to thank everybody for attending. Next time, we're going to hear from Tyler Berman and Kathy McCauley. And Tyler is a voice actor. He was our voice of God at the Autism and Entertainment Conference. And since then, he's got a manager, he's got an agent, he's had a lot of different roles, and just recently moved into Cornerstone Village, which is an apartment unit for individuals on the spectrum. So he has a very exciting story to tell. And Katherine has been with him as a well-known voice actress, and works for Spec Labs and has been with him all along that journey. So thank you all for attending. Thank you so much, Katherine. Thank you,
Yes, thank you
Josh,
for
for your
having
help.
me.
Of course.
Anyway, we'll see you in a month. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.